you guys here. It's good to be with everybody. So like I said, we're going to start the day here first with reading from Robert Greene's new book. It's called The Daily Laws. I highly recommend you pick it up. It's a 1 day, 1 page per day kind of read. It's super easy to apply into our trading. So let's jump into today's chapter. Like I said, it's called Integrate the Shadow Side. So how are we going to integrate this shadow side into our trading? Let's find out. Robert says, from an early age, Abraham Lincoln liked to analyze himself. And a recurrent theme in his self-examinations was that he had a split personality. On one hand, an ambitious, almost cruel streak to his nature, and on the other, a sensitivity and a softness that made him frequently depressed. Both sides of his nature made him feel uncomfortable and odd. On the rough side, for instance, he loved boxing and thoroughly thrashing his opponent in the ring. In law and politics, he had a rather scathing sense of humor. On his soft side, he loved poetry. He felt tremendous affection for animals and hated witnessing any kind of physical cruelty. At his worst, he was prone to fits of deep melancholy and brooding over death, thinking about death. All in all, he felt himself to be far too sensitive for the rough and tumble world of politics. Instead of denying this side of himself, he channeled it into incredible empathy for the public, for the average man and the average woman. Caring deeply about the loss of lives in the war, he put all his efforts into ending it early. He did not project evil onto the South, but rather empathized with its plight and planned on a peace that was not retributive. He also incorporated it into a healthy sense of humor about himself, making frequent jokes about his ugliness, his high-pitched voice, and brooding nature. I've never heard that word before, twice in this page. Brooding, B-R-O-O-D-I-N-G, nature. By embracing and integrating such opposite qualities into his public persona, he gave the impression of tremendous authenticity. People could identify with him in a way never seen before in a political leader. So the Daily Law, it says your goal must be not only complete acceptance of your shadow side, but also the desire to integrate it into your present personality. By doing so, you will be more a complete human and radiate an authenticity that will draw people to you. I think that that's a really, really applicable chapter, not directly into trading. That's not what it makes me think of, but it does make me think of just entrepreneurship in general, where you have to accept your flaws. I made a tweet about this and everybody loved it last week. You have to accept your flaws, right? And almost laugh at yourself, be willing to admit where you look funny, be looking funny with this beard, looking funny with my big lips, be willing to make fun of yourself, but also be willing to accept the good qualities in yourself, or be willing to accept the bad qualities in yourself and then still laugh at the good qualities in yourself. It's got to go both ways. And I feel like as you go into entrepreneurship, if you try to be the know-it-all, if you try to only have one side of this personality that Abraham Lincoln speaks on, because I think we all have that dual personality, that empathy and that aggressiveness. If you try to just be one of them, you never really win. Like if Abe Lincoln would have gone into the war fully aggressive, who knows what America would look like today? You know what I mean? Whereas he went into it with empathy, he balanced the two sides. So maybe into our trading, we can think, how do we apply that empathy and that, actually, I'll rephrase it. How do we apply the aggressiveness to maybe call a reversal? Or for right now, looking at Euro USD, the aggressiveness would say, look, it's hitting this divergence line right here. We should maybe buy it. Balancing that with the trend following side that, look, we should be looking to short it off the 50 EMA. This has been short bias since yesterday. It tanked yesterday. We just had good US dollar news. That normally pushes Euro USD lower. We should ride the trend. So you're balancing that trend following with that contrarian, and you're knowing when to lean into which one. So I like that. I think that that's very applicable. Brooding, engaging or deep thought. Thank you. Yeah, I figured it meant thinking. Thanks, Bougie to Goat. Appreciate you for being our Webster's